I would describe Fox as the most quintessential melee character and honestly one of the best designed fighting game characters of all time. From all the fighting games I've played, he's honestly still one of my favorite, if not the favorite character I've ever played, and he exemplifies so much of what makes melee melee. You have the expression, you have the execution, you have the unforgiving aspects of the character and the game, right? Like if you screw up, you will die. If you hit the thing, you will win. And he's fast, he has control, he has expression. You can play him so many different ways. Yeah, I think he's just one of the most important characters in fighting game history. And if you talk about Fox, like you can talk to him about someone that doesn't even play melee anymore or has never even played it competitively, just watch, and they'll kind of know, oh, you play Fox? Damn, your hands must be broken, you know? you must be crazy. But also, he's also just an incredibly powerful character. He's definitely worth the effort. And I think that's something really, really cool, where he's such a hard character, but he's also very, very, very worth it. And yeah, I think he's one of the main reasons why melee is still like, why melee is still around, why it's still flourishing. It's because Fox is one of the best characters. He's the most popular character, and he's really fun to fight. You can fight him, with any character, even low tiers can beat him. But he's also really, really fun to play, and anyone can pick up Fox and have a great time. Fox has a lot of different strengths, and he's overall a very well-rounded character, but the most defining one, I would say, is just how fast he is. He's not just fast in the way that he has a fast dash speed like Falcon, long wave dash like Luigi, or full jumps high like Falco, but he's fast in every single way. He has the best type of movement for a lot of his attacks, like his short up is amazing, his full jump is amazing, not too high, not too low, and his dash speed is amazing, his dash dance is great, his wave dash is just right, and all these combined with some of the best moves in the game and a really, really even spread of attacks. Like, he doesn't really have a bad move. He has amazing aerials, he has amazing ground moves, he has amazing grabs, amazing specials. Where some characters like Sheik will have like down B and side B and, Sheik forward smash. Fox doesn't really have a move that doesn't see use. And I think that is such a good strength because it means that at any point, you always have a ton of options you can do. And your opponent can never really look at you standing somewhere and be like, all right, this is how he's going to approach me. This is how he's going to defend me. If you break this down further, he has a lot of other strengths. He has one of the best grabs. He can combo or kill from a grab at basically any percent. No matter what situation you're in, if you land a grab, you'll probably get something good out of it. Combined with his great dash speed makes him really, really great at whiff punishing. He has great out of shield options. He has great crouch cancel options. He's great at platforms. His recovery is very, very good at getting into high percents, but obviously has some weaknesses as well. Because of his well-spread moveset, like all the different options, he does have, not any one defining strength, whereas like Marth has the range, Puff has the aerial control, or Falco has the lasers. This also means that because he's so well spread, he can kind of tune his playstyle on how he wants to play in order to best exploit the opposing character. So against Puff, he's going to be running away. Against Falco, he's going to be able to dash in and stop him from setting up. Against Peach, he might use platforms, etc. Like, you can really tailor your playstyle in order to make the opposing character suffer as much as possible. And I think that's also just a really fun thing where, because of this, you don't really play every matchup the same way, and it really makes you able to express yourself because you have all these options. There's not really a clear best strategy a lot of the time, which makes, every Fox player play different. His punish game is also really amazing. He has very, very solid 2 to 3 hit combos that often set him into a juggle or an edge guard or tech chase. All the basics of melee punish game, he's really, really good at. Tech chasing, juggling, edge guarding. He has Shine, which is just the most incredible move. And not only does it just synergize perfectly with his kit, but it also enables him to, do things that no other character can, whether it's wave shining someone across the stage, getting a gimp on a character like Puff or Peach that basically no other character can kill early from an edge guard, or whether just, to shield pressure or get out of sticky situations like tech chases with Spotlight Shine. It really is a great move and really, glues his entire playstyle together without maybe defining it as much as I would say Falco Shine does, where Falco really focuses on the shine, whereas Fox is more of like of a glue where it's supplementary and rather than the main thing you're doing all the time. He's just an incredibly well-rounded character with a lot of strengths, but also some very big weaknesses to make up for all the strengths he has. So Fox's weaknesses are really big, and they generally just come down to the big one though. In essence, when you hit Fox, when you make him pay, he really pays. He has really bad weight, he's very light, so he can die early from moves. He has a recovery that, while good, if your opponent reads it, he can die at any percent. He falls fast and he's light, which means that things knock him over early and set up for tech chases. He can get seared to death from many different grabs, whether it's a tech chase grab or chain grab. He really has bad like combo escapes as well, where he can, you know, shine, but like if you shine someone in the area, it doesn't really do that much. His lack of relative range is also a big issue, where other characters, they have like Marth Forward Air, they have Falco Laser, or they have Peach Fair, Puff Backer, etc. They have this one big keep away move. Fox does have backer, but it really does not compare to the best of them. Obviously, he's still great at walling. He's still great at keeping people away from him, but that's generally done with his speed combined with his moves rather than just through the moves themselves. Generally, this is not a big issue, but it does definitely come up, and you definitely do feel like the shorter range character, which does come with some implications on how you want to play. Because you're the shorter range character, you do have to run in and shield versus Marth, for example. You can't just, outspace him with your own backer versus his forward air. Honestly, though, I think one of the things that I think about the most, the two weaknesses I think about the most, is that one, he's very common, so everyone will know how to fight against him. When I was younger, I was in this situation where, one day we'll all just know every matchup. I'll just be just as good against Fox as I am against Luigi and Ice Climbers and Bowser and all these things. As I grew up, I've come to realize that is kind of a fantasy land. Like, as long as we're good, getting better at melee, we'll always probably be getting better against Fox more so than most other characters, due to him being a top tier, due to him being the most popular one. So I think accepting that everyone will on average be a little bit better against Fox, you can't really get away with hoping your opponent doesn't know the Fox matchup, which you can actually do even at a very high level, obviously to varying degrees. And I think the last weakness, which I think is probably the biggest one, is also something that I denied in a similar way, where simply Fox is a very hard character. That does not mean that no other character in the game is hard, but that still means he is hard. And again, when I was younger, I was like, one day I'll just never mess up tech skill. I'll just never miss. I'll just make everything. And then as I've grown up and I've gained more perspective, I've come to realize that no, we'll probably always make mistakes. There'll never come a day where you make no mistakes, where you suddenly hit every single L cancel, every ledge dash, stuff like that. And the problem with Fox is not necessarily that he has way harder things to do than the opponent. It's just that if he messes up, he can really suffer from it. And because obviously of his weakness of dying whenever the opponent hits him, that really does often come to play more than some other characters. And obviously just playing a very fast character, really hard execution also just leads to you making slightly more mistakes. But honestly, I've also realized that these are weaknesses I'm completely fine with having. Having a loss feel like it was on you and you screwing up, rather than, oh, the matchup was terrible, or my character just couldn't do it, or some other boring thing like, oh, my character was timed out by the opponent because my character is too slow. All these things I think are a much more boring way to lose. And the same thing kind of applies to the fact that everyone knows how to play against them. That also means that I never feel like I cheese someone when I win them. I never really feel like, oh, they just didn't know what my character did. I was lucky to run into someone that didn't know how to fight Fox. That never really happens. So I think accepting that the weaknesses do exist is better generally if you're looking to pick up a character rather than pretend that they don't exist, because every character has strengths, every character has weaknesses. Obviously, Fox is an amazing character, so none of his weaknesses are ever even close enough to make him bad. He's still obviously one of the best characters, if not the best character in the game. my Fox philosophy, and honestly my melee and fighting game and just gaming philosophy in general, is if you play good enough, you can do anything. You can win any situation, you can beat any opponent. But I think Fox is really the perfect character to exemplify this. There really are very few situations where it's truly hopeless. Even if you're down 3 stocks, you can make the comeback. But this also turns the other way, where even if you're up 3 stocks, you can still get reverse 4 stock. You can still SD, you can still throw anything away. So always working really, really hard and working to make sure that you play your best at any time is really the most basic essence of Fox, and something I try to think about every day, every time I play, is that you always have to earn the match, you always have to play well, make sure that you respect any opponent, because it doesn't matter if they play Donkey Kong, it doesn't matter if they play Game & Watch, they can still get that one grab, that one hit, they can beat you. But again, it's very important to also play with confidence, because everyone knows that there's nothing scarier than, you know, a Fox who's just like on point playing like they know exactly what they want to do, never messing anything up, and just feels absolutely impossible to beat. So yeah, I think it's just very important to remember that all these things, you know, he's a very hard character. There's a lot of different things going on, and you might just pick the character up and be like, I can't even short hop, I can't wave shine, I can't short up laser, I can't do anything. Why would I play this character? And I just think it's very important to remember that everyone starts out that way. Everyone starts out, you know, terrible, spamming the C stick, going to their first local, getting O2'd, and that really does not define how you are eventually going to play. When I first picked up Fox or first picked up Melee, I could never have imagined to, you know, be a sponsored player who won a lot of tournaments or play Melee even this way. And I think it's really, really important to remember that all these small changes, they take time. Improvement is not linear. You're going to learn something new, which is going to make you initially often worse at first, where you'll struggle to implement this into your playstyle. But if you trust the process, if you put the time in, and if you really try hard enough, and you keep adjusting, finding the things that work out for you, finding this is how I learned, this is how I want to play, eventually you will be able to look back and you realize that like all these things that you thought you'd never be able to do, you can do them now. Best thing about Fox is that road never really ends. There'll always be something ahead. There'll always be something that, oh, I could do this better. Maybe I could do that. Can I really do that? And I think that's really beautiful, where you really do feel when you play this character that the sky's the limit. And if you put the time in, one day maybe you'll be able to hit that like triple shine. Maybe you'll be able to ledge dash with 15 frame skill in it. Maybe you'll hopelessly fail, but you never know. And I think it's really, really fun to play this character, and I have never looked back and said, man, I wish I made Falcon or wish I made Marth. Like, Fox really is one of the coolest characters, and I hope you will enjoy learning him in this guide and outside of it.